Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bradbury Group's webinar focused on the market legislation and importance of fire doors in your project. So my name is Georgia Burton and I'm an internal specifier at Bradbury's, and I'll be taking you through today's presentation, which is entitled Understanding the Importance of Fire Doors and Certification. Today's presentation has also been approved by the CPD Certification Service, and if you require a certificate after today, a link to download it will be sent after the event. So, jumping into our learning outcomes. Fire doors are an integral part of a building's design, but is not always understood why they are so important. This CPD aims to outline the importance of fire doors and building regulations / rules surrounding them from a new build and renovation perspective. It will also provide an overview of a typical fire door design before outlining the types of testing and certification. Finally, I'll provide a brief overview of combining security and fire certification before showcasing some recent case studies. There'll be an opportunity at the end for questions and answers. So if you do have a question, just pop them in the little Q&A tab up top. If it's not working, just keep your questions to yourself. There'll be an email at the end, and then we can pick them up from there. So the Bradbury Group was founded in 1991 and operates worldwide from our headquarters in Scunthorpe, Lincolnshire. We have a state-of-the-art 135,000 square foot manufacturing facility, which is accredited to ISO 9001. We employ over 200 people and are proud to provide a comprehensive product certification across our entire range of steel doors, bar sets, kiosks, and crowd control gates. We operate on a 10 to 15 working day manufacturing rate and can house large amounts of doors in our storage facility for larger scale jobs. We operate across a wide range of sectors and have supplied many projects in the water, construction, architecture, medical and communal industries. So onto the CPD, why are fire doors so important? This section will provide a bit of an overview of the importance and terms you may have heard in this industry before. We all expect and have the right to feel safe and protected should a fire break out. Unfortunately, this isn't always the case. There are many elements that make up the fabric of a safe building, and just one element can lead to tragedy, causing death and serious injury. Fire doors are part of an overall building's passive fire protection system. This is an essential requirement for all public buildings, offices and factories, but I'll get to this later. There are also certain domestic situations where fire doors are a requirement, including flats, doors leading to integral garages, or where a dwelling has a second floor habitable room, such as a loft conversion. Where this applies, rooms are compartmented in order to prevent the spread of fire, keeping the fire within the compartment within which it starts, protect the occupants and contents of other compartments, and provide a safe, protected means of escape for any occupants. Passive fire protection are components or systems of a building or structure that slows or impedes the spread of the effects of fire or smoke without system activation and usually without movement. Examples of passive fire systems include floor ceilings and roofs, fire doors, windows and wall assemblies, fire-resistant coatings, and other fire and smoke control assemblies. Passive fire protection systems can include active components such as fire dampers. So fire safety legislation for England and Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland highlight the legal responsibilities of reducing the risk of fire spreading within a premises. Penalties for failing to comply with the legislation carry unlimited fines or a prison sentence for an organisation and landlords. So existing buildings other than domestic properties are governed by the requirements of the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005, otherwise known as the RRO or Fire Safety Order, which is FSO. The responsibility for fire risk assessments in all non-domestic buildings falls to the responsible person. This also includes common parts of flats or houses of multiple occupation. The responsible person must carry out a fire safety risk assessment and implement and maintain a fire management plan. Legislation requires fire doors to be maintained correctly. Regular fire doors inspections, particularly for those in high risk and high usage areas, will highlight any fire door maintenance or replacement issues that need addressing. When carrying out maintenance on a fire door or door set, it is important to remember that under the building regulations or the regulatory reform fire safety order, proof of compliance of fire doors can be requested. For this reason, the original fire door specification should be adhered to and only compatible components used to avoid challenges. This rule applies to all non-domestic buildings, including business premises, parts of residential dwellings used for business purposes, charities, contractors, and accommodations for paying guests. Fire door regulations in new buildings are governed by building regulations, also known as approved documents. They are designed to help meet the minimum standards required for construction in the UK. As fire doors are functional items and are necessary in all buildings and structures, they are required to meet a number of different regulations such as sound, accessibility, ventilation, thermal efficiency, and safety glazing, as well as fire safety. The Homes Fitness for Human Habitation Act 2018 requires landlords in the private and social sectors to ensure that their properties, including any common areas of the building, are fit for human habitation at the beginning of the tenancy and throughout. To achieve this, landlords must make sure that their property is free of hazard. That means the property is not reasonably suitable for occupation. The hazards include exposure to uncontrolled fire and associated smoke, highlighting the need for effective fire doors that prevent the spread of smoke and fire. Where there are areas in residential buildings that people are using as workspace, there will be obligation for the safety of those employees under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Employees must be able to leave their place of work safely, which means maintaining the escape routes used in the event of fire through the use of correctly specified and installed fire doors and smoke control doors. Third-party certification of fire doors and door sets provides evidence to the responsible person that everything reasonably practical has been done to demonstrate the ability of the fire door to perform in the event of a fire. The fire door certification process provides proof of the fire door or door set's ability to hold back the spread of smoke and fire and the consistency of its manufacturer. Fire door third-party certification also provides vital specification information for component parts to enable the fire door or door set to be maintained in line with the original spec throughout its lifespan. This is crucial for compliance with both the building regulations and the regulatory reform fire safety order. All third-party certification must be UKAS accredited. So moving on to fire door designs. So you often hear the term door or door set, but do you know what the subtle differences are between the two in the industry? Well, the term door refers to the leaf and frame, but does not necessarily include hardware. Doors tend not to be supplied as a complete package. The term door set actually refers to the full package from the leaf and the frame to all the hardware and seals. Door sets tend to be supplied already in the frame, whereas doors can be supplied separately. So what is a fire door set? So a fire door set is a complete unit consisting of a door frame and a door leaf or leaves, supplied with all essential parts from a single source. This means that a fire door set is supplied as a complete unit from one supplier so that it is fully fitted up and finished direct from the manufacturer, fitted with all compatible components and glazing, and is pre-assembled in the factory. A fire door assembly is a complete assembly as installed, including door frame and one or more leaves, together with its essential hardware supplied from separate sources. This means that the components can be sourced from many different manufacturers or suppliers. So door sets, along with walls and ceilings, are designed to resist the fire for a specified period of time. The simple purpose of a fire door in everyday use is just as any other door. However, since a breakout of fire is never predictable, the fire door, unlike any other door, must perform its prime purpose to protect lives and offer protection to the remainder of the building and to other buildings. The required resistance to fire depends on a number of factors. Typically, a fire door rating with the rating 30 minutes will be enough for doors leading for fire exits, but higher ratings might be needed if you're trying to protect the property or certain assets. Fire doors are a critical part of a building's passive fire safety strategy, and they are as important as testing the battery on a smoke alarm or checking the pressure of a fire extinguisher. Fully functioning fire doors can help to prevent the spread of fires and provide people with a safe route to evacuate. Compartmentalisation helps to starve the fire of oxygen, eventually subduing it. When choosing a fire door, ideally you should ensure that the door has a closer and fully functioning hinges. Check that the door comes with the correct signage and labelling. Check that the door set comes with fire resistant glazing, and check that the door set comes with certified handles and locks and that the handle is fully working. Some door sets come with intrumescent strips and cold smoke seals where appropriate, and these help to resist the passage of smoke and fire to other compartments. It is recommended that fire doors are regularly maintained to ensure compliance and negate risk. Escape doors are not subjected to the same test criteria and do not need to be fire rated. However, there are certain criteria an escape door should meet. So escape doors must meet either BSEN 179 emergency escape or BSEN 1125 panic escape standards. These differ depending on the hardware installed on the door. So for emergency fire exits, doors should be fitted with a panic bar or panic pad or even a lever handle, providing an easy and a fast exit from a building. It is once again recommended that escape doors are regularly maintained to ensure compliance and negate risk. So moving on to our testing and certification of fire doors. So how are they tested? So doors are tested as a complete assembly, including the frame, leaves and associated hardware where required. It is produced and installed to the same standards you would expect in a real building and is subjected to testing at 1100 degrees for a sustained period of time. So in these videos, before I play them, so the video on the left shows a door being subjected to testing by Warrington Fire. As you can see, as it goes up to the close-up, you'll see that the door is hooked up to various sensors monitoring the external temperature. So the focus is on potential areas of failure, for example, the gaps around the doors. This door has been undergoing testing for over 4 hours, meaning it has achieved a rating of FD 240. And then the video on the right shows what can happen if the door does not meet with the testing requirements. The video shows the hinge area failing on the door. You can see that it's molded through. So internal versus external standards. So internal doors must be tested to BS 476-22 or BSEN 16034-1 to be compliant. These tests stimulate how the doors will function in a fire, and the doors are then rated in minutes with a prefix of FD. Currently, internal doors have no requirement for CE/ or UK CE marking. External door sets must have CE marking to be fire door compliant with the EU and are covered by the harmonised product standards. Because of Brexit, it is now a requirement for door sets to also meet the UK CA designated product standard mark for all doors sold within Great Britain. At present, internal doors do not have to comply with the harmonised standards and therefore not CE or UKCA marked. However, the standard for external pedestrian door sets, EN 14351-1, and fire-rated pedestrian door sets, which is EN 16034, are both harmonised and designated, which means it is a requirement to be CE and or UKCA marked when placed on the market. It is a responsibility of the person placing the door on the market to ensure it meets compliance. So BSI is the national standards body of the United Kingdom. BSEN 1634-1 is the standard for fire resistant tests for doors and shutters and is a method for determination of the fire resistance of non-load bearing elements of construction. This standard specifies a method for determining the fire resistance of door and shutter assemblies, also openable windows designed for installation within openings incorporated in vertical separating elements such as hinged or pivoted doors. BS 476-22 is the standard for fire tests on building materials and structures. This standard has been superseded by the current BSEN 1634-1, but it has been in conjunction with BS 476-20, which describes the general principles for these retained based on legitimate need for the standards within non-EU markets. Doors at the Bradbury Group are tested and approved with ex-over warrant and file under the Certifier scheme. So Certifier is an independent third-party certification scheme which assures the performance, quality, reliability and traceability of fire protection products. It is an internationally respected mark of fire safety and one of the most authoritative in the industry. Certifier provides regulator, specifier, customer and end user confidence in stated performance of the products tested, giving assurance as to the performance of the products. It is most used by manufacturers of passive fire products and systems as it offers the opportunity to differentiate products and processes from non-certified equivalents, thus helping to access markets worldwide. The scheme can also be useful to architects, specifiers, contractors and building owners as Certifier provides assurance that correctly installed passive fire protection products and systems will perform as required, thus avoiding costly mistakes and dramatically reducing risk. So CE on external fire rated doors first came into effect on the 1st of November 2019 and is the conformity mark used by the EEC. In order to obtain a CE mark, doors must be third-party tested and their continued manufacturer must be audited to ensure they comply with external door regulations in BSEN 1435-1. The testing measures the door set for air leakage, water tightness, resistance to wind load, thermal transmittance, acoustic performance, impact resistance for door sets with glazing, ability for exit devices on emergency escape doors to release, and then declarations on radiation properties and any dangerous substances. In addition to this, BSEN 1435-1 allows tests for voluntary door characteristics that may demonstrate extra performance features. These would include features such as strength and durability tests. So moving on to fire and security. So door sets can be supplied with both fire and security certification, but there are limitations in the fire integrity as well as the hardware and additional options available. The advantages of installing a dual certified door is that it can perform multiple uses. So for example, an external fire door can achieve a security rating of LPS 1175 SR4. However, depending on the design, there are some limitations on the amount of time a door can withstand fire, and an SR4 door is limited to 120 minutes fire resistance. So moving on to our case study, which might be familiar with a few people. So in the 2022 FIFA World Cup tournament, was held in an Arab region, taking place across a 21-mile radius of Qatar. In total, there were 8 stadiums with a total capacity of just under 400,000 people, which are linked by a metro system. Each stadium has a different striking design, with some being powered by solar farms and equipped with cooling systems or an outdoor air conditioning. So the Bradbury Group was approached by HBK Contracting Co. to supply over 600 doors with high levels of security and additional fire integrity. The project required a quick turnaround and with a total requirement of 649 doors across the different stadiums. 422 doors were SR2 and 227 of the doors were SR3. To be supplied directly to Qatar for installation. The door sets fire integrity varied depending on the location, with some providing up to a certification of up to 240 minutes. Now, due to the number of doors required, shipment was required via containers, which couldn't be undertaken in-house due to restrictions on space. Production of the doors began almost immediately from order, with a total of 20 leaves produced each day, which is around 80 to 100 doors each week. A quick turnaround on paint was required, with both the pre-coat and top coat applied in the same day. A third party was recruited to create the doors ready for shipment, and in total the project took 6 months to complete, with the doors supplied in a range of colours. Now that brings us to our question and answer. So I'm just going to check if we've had any questions in the box. So I believe we have 2 questions. So I'm just going to introduce Kev, who is our sales engineer, who will be helping ask them the questions for me. If you can't see your question in the box, don't worry, just keep it in an email and then we'll be able to answer it towards the end. So, Kev, are you there? Kevin?
I'm here. Yeah.
Oh,
hi.
I can hear you. So I've got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
The first question is, can you retrofit hardware onto fire-rated doors?
No, unfortunately not, because this would negate the fire rating of the door. As it's not tested, the hardware may not be tested on a fire rated door anyway, so wouldn't know how to perform. And also with retrofitting it, you are drilling into the door and changing the design of the door, so that would have an effect on the fire rating.
Thank you. And then the other question is, are fire doors also smoke rated?
As standard, we only offer one fire rated product ourselves. Fire rated doors have to undergo a separate test if they want to be smoke rated. They do come with smoke rated seals, but they have no official accreditation for smoke testing.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kevin. That is all the questions. So thank you again. That brings us to the end of our CPD. So thank you again for attending. We'll really appreciate your feedback to help us improve. So a link with a survey will be sent after today's event. So please complete it if you can. Alongside, if you require a certificate from today, the same link to download a certificate will be sent in the email. So I hope you have enjoyed the webinar today, and details of how to contact us regarding any products or CPD inquiries will be on the last slide. And then just another plug, alongside this CPD, we do provide an additional accredited presentation available via webinar or also via one-to-one. The CPD is entitled A Guide to the Design and Specification of Steel Fire and Security Doors, and this one focuses on the need for fire and security and provides a comparison of properties between steel versus wooden doors. This CPD also provides an insight into the testing and certification available across security, fire, flood and acoustic doors. So please do contact me after today's session if you would like to book another accredited CPD. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a lovely day.